Hi, everyone. My name is Chris Farrow. Welcome. It is Wednesday, October 22nd. It's 7:01 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Guess what? The Love is Blind Season 9, Episode 12 slash wedding episode dropped. It dropped today. At first, I swear I thought it said Pacific Standard Time at 6 p.m. and I freaked out because I had already scheduled this to start at 7 and I was like, how the hell am I going to be able to watch it, hope that it's an hour exactly and then go live, but worked out. Hi Amy. Hi. Um I have I have one obvious big thing to say about the wedding episode, which I just want to wait for people to come in before I get into how I felt about this episode, the season, everything. Hi, hello, you guys. Wednesday. I hope you're all doing well. I had a great day, a really great day. I took off those eyelash extensions, honey. I mean, if you were here on Monday, if you were here on Sunday, I've had eyelash extensions for maybe the past 6 weeks, and there are great parts of eyelash extensions. Truly, I do think that it makes me look better, and people do treat me much better when I'm wearing them. That's annoying, but that's true. Or maybe it's just my weird perception of the world. You can make your own decision of what it is, but I'm just giving you both options. The second thing is it's annoying to sleep with, and they're annoying to have to go all the right way because inevitably they start to go weird ways and you're like, "Hi. Yay." Everyone, by the way, thumbs up this video, turning on the light in the room when you come in, give it a little thumbs up, like it so we know what's happening and we can feel like we're telling the algorithm that good things are afoot. You know what I'm saying? It's all good here. So thank you so much, you guys. Okay. The other part of my day that I feel was really great, besides the fact that I took off those eyelash extensions, were really heavy on my eyes, really itchy, where it's just, is that I also swam. I've been taking swim lessons because I never took swim lessons. You just they threw me in, honey. I'm sorry. I'm assuming that at some point I took swim lessons when I was very young, but no one's ever gone over different strokes with me and how you do this and how you do that. I sort of was like, oh, okay, this is how you freestyle, but it's not really a freestyle. Freestyle swimming isn't freestyle. Can we talk about it? Freestyle to me, because I come from my dance background, means a couple of bars of doing whatever the fuck you want, as long as it's in time. But freestyle in swimming means a very specific stroke. It's like, ooh, is it? Turns out I do the stroke very wrong all the time. I'm cutting in too much and I didn't breathe. I'm not breathing right. I didn't realize for a long time, because again, no swimming lessons, that people are supposed to be blowing out underwater the entire time. So when they just come up to breathe, they're not coming up to breathe one whole breath. They're coming up to take in oxygen. And then throughout the stroke underwater, they're blowing it out. That's something I had to learn. Because the entire time before taking lessons, when you would tell me to swim, and if you're freestyle, I would do what looked like what I thought was happening. But every time I would breathe, I would be like, blowing out, taking in. Okay, so swim lessons have been really great. I know how to do a breaststroke. You'd think I'd be already good at it. Okay, so we're going to start talking about Love is Blind. Don't worry. I've just been waiting to get people in the room, just getting people situated. And at 5 minutes, we'll start. So if you're walking in and you're just like, why is this bitch talking about swimming? I'm just letting people marinate. And then after that, I'm doing some traveling, and this is a very misty woo-woo thing. There's a lot of misty woo-woo shit I don't do, okay? I'm not always in infrared saunas, and I'm not, in LED beds all day long. But one misty woo-woo thing I do is I do an IV. I love an IV. Some people are like, you just pee it out. It doesn't do anything. I'm like, I'm so sorry. It does. It puts a bunch of nutrients right in me. I feel great. So I did that, and then I got a back facial. and I got my eyebrows waxed. What a day. I'm traveling, so this is, like, some stuff for that. Obviously, my big day off. I still have to pack tonight and watch some stuff. I get to hang out with you guys. Okay, so Love is Blind, season 9, episode 12. Thank you so much. I love you guys so much, and let's get into it. So I knew it. I called it. This is the weirdest, worst season ever. And I knew that no one was going to get married. The only surprising thing that happened is that Sparkle and Jordan didn't even make it to the altar. And I think the meanest thing that happened is that I think that Calabria should have let Edmund down before all that, before the wedding. Like, I think those people could have switched. Okay, right? You didn't. I knew that Calabria wasn't going to marry Edmund. Okay. He didn't know. He's too sweet not to he's too sweet, and he deserves someone, and we're all in it, and you wanna, like, believe, but we all knew that she wasn't, so why did she do that? I feel like that was so shitty of her. Like, I liked Calabria up to this, like, I wonder, okay, why would she do that to him? If you hear his story once, you're like, "Well, I don't wanna cause this person more pain." This person who's lovely and has, like, accomplished so much, through some trauma, and, might be dealing with some processing and some other, like, like, stuff that might be, happening. We're not gonna ever talk about it, which we don't need to talk about it, but the behaviors are there, and then so when she seemingly stays around in a way that makes us feel like she's not addressing it either, we're left confused. But at the same time, the thing that we know in our hearts is that we're still not going to hurt this man. We still don't want to cause this man more pain. And I mean, why you wouldn't let him down as gently as possible? Like, if you found yourself in the situation where you were like, I love a person so much who, it will be in I hopefully will be in my life for the rest of my life because they've experienced so many different things that I haven't, that it opened up my heart and mind in a way that it changed me and, whatnot. It's hard because Calabria knew that he was in love with her. And you're like, why are you starting with Calabria and Edmund? And I'm like, you know what? You're right. And obviously, okay. Okay, you're right. That's my taste of this episode. Let's get in. So it's the one day to the bachelorette party, honey, and the bachelor party. So one day at the wedding to the bachelorette party, honey, and it's winter themed. It's snow bunny themed. I love it. I love a good snow bunny outfit. I really do. It's funny because this is happening, and then if you're, watching other reality shows, why wouldn't you be? 90 Day Fiance, Happily Ever After, all the couples that they put together, the trifecta of couples went to Lake Placid. It's all very snow bunny too. So we're getting like these head to toe onesie outfits with fur accoutrements. And I die for that. I really like that. I mean, I as a Southern California lady and, as an American, I'm not used to fur or snow. The snow part for California and fur, you know, I get that rich people have fur, and I get that maybe fur was around more in the 1950s, but it's like, A, it's passé, and B, in America, it never gets that cold. To me, Montreal has a lot of, I think, has a lot of furs, but that makes sense. It's Canada. Like, like when we get to, like, the Eastern European countries, fur makes sense. I mean, if you are a vegan, you're like, shut up, Chris. And I'm like, oh, whatever, God bless. Ethically. Um, here's the thing. Here's the thing about fur I just don't get. I also don't want them to just kill animals for nothing. But are there animals that we're killing and eating and then just have fur, like rabbits, that we can just use that fur? And is that ethically sourced fur? And is that okay because you're going to kill the rabbit anyway? Kill the rabbit. Kill the rabbit. So sorry. This is where, of course, I do have ADHD, but at the same time, I'm also hoping that like there is a generation of people that watched the Looney Tunes episode that I'm talking about, the best one ever, Roger, where Bugs Bunny dresses up in drag and seduces Elmer Fudd in like an operatic grand Greek tragedy. And that's when he sings Kill the Rabbit like that. Anyway, but if you're going to kill a rabbit anyway, like, is that ethically sourced fur and can you still use that fur? Like, I don't think anyone's eating mink, you know, and which is, unless you're eating mink. Mink is like a little squirrel kind of thing. Um, I have 2 vintage furs. I think. I might have 3. From my grandmother. And they are warm. So basically there's nothing that happens at the bachelorette party that's great. God, I could really tell, like, why didn't they bring back the other girls? Why didn't they bring back like Madison? Where they just didn't want to be there? Like they were just like, no, I'm over it, maybe. Why wasn't there a show? Take them out. Bring someone, a magician, some sassy something or other that can like, titillate in some way. Nothing. So then, but they have their own like pockets of friends. So we get individual conversations, but the major conversations are Megan's friends talking to her about the pros and cons of dating Jordan and specifically Jordan/Luca and what that's like. And there are 2 very strong POVs from one friend who she says by the way, both point of views are great because they are absolute possibilities. But it's so funny because like think about these 2 friends in this. You have one friend who's like, I'm gonna tell you right now, you're gonna fall in love with Luca or be in love with Luca, and you're just gonna like pretend everything's okay, but then you're gonna say yes to a lot and find yourself strapped in a like boring, bad relationship where you've just let yourself pretend to be mommy to someone and have lost your wits. She's like, oh, that's bad, right? No, don't do that. And then she has her other friend, like a fucking angel, right? Devil and angel. I mean, here's the thing. I'm not going to like say one is a good option and one is a bad option, but just for this, because it's fun. The angel is like, or you fall in love with Luca. Luca is your everything, and Luca shows you what it's like to experience love from a child and opens up your heart and mind to worlds in which you would never know, and this relationship ends up being the most amazing, fulfilling, best thing ever that you would have never experienced as like a cold-hearted, money-grubbing Scrooge lady. You know what I'm saying? And she's like, oh God, I want to kill you. Sparkle Megan's like, I want to kill you for saying that. And then her other friend, like the devil, has to just be like, yeah, there's this or that one. Yeah, that could also happen. I'm dead. Sparkle Megan just sits on that, tight-lipped. And again, I think it's like interesting because we're going to realize that not much happens this episode. So this is the major part of the bachelorette party. I felt like they just wanted to get in and out of this season so bad. Remember how there were like, wasn't last season the wedding's a 2-part episode? Anyway, so we also get to know Allie's roommate Daria, and then we get to have that roommate talk, and Allie talk. And that's the talk that we've kind of been waiting. This is a very interesting talk between Allie and Daria because it answers a bunch of fucking questions I had, but in a way that's so like rah, rah, that I was like, what? Okay, so let me explain. So I have been somewhat fixated on the fact that they gave us this scene where Allie and Anton hang out with Anton's friend, and before they had met up supposedly. Anton was like, "Yeah, like, we're gonna meet my friend. My friend is like a big partier, totally drinks, blah 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 blah." And then like they meet the friend. The friend has like a girlfriend, brand new girlfriend. They've been dating for like 2 months, but like it's been like real fast, real quick. Of course, Allie goes to the bathroom. That friend is like, "Hey, yeah, just so you know, like Anton like definitely is a partier." And she's like, "Bitch, what? He said that about your guy." And she's like, "Well, let me tell you. Both were. Both. But my guy's with me now, so he's not partying." Okay. Remember that? We were like, "Oh my God." From that, of course, we get like the drinky McDrinks scene where he's like taken down, beer can after beer can and tequila bottle, and she just blinks at him in the most like passive aggressive way. And we're like, "Well, then how do you feel about that?" Hi. Like how, what is happening? So then, but it's never talked about with Anton, like in a real way. Like it's the drinking is never addressed where he's like stop drinking. They're never having any fun. They never go out and like I'm okay. They also, let me go back. She never addresses that to him. "Hey, you lied to me about your friend. Your friend said that your friend's girlfriend said that you do drink. So what's happening with that? Because it's on camera." So then I thought that must have happened. No, in fact, the producers would have wanted her to remedy that. And then I thought, so if that scene happened, it must have been so boring that they cut it out. Because basically, that's kind of what she says. She's like, "Let me tell you, Daria, I did have an issue with the drinking, but at the same time, he really needs grace with it." Because like he's it turns out that I don't really trust the girl that told me that. She'd only been dating him like 3 months, so maybe she doesn't know what she's talking about, and I've been around him. We're like, "Oh, okay." Or maybe that's actually the conversation she has with her mom, but I'm so sorry, but these are the conversations that happen in this, but it's fine. Allie also has a conversation, what I wanna say, with Daria, and Daria definitely brings up money. She's like, "Hey, so how are you gonna actually deal with the fact that he's a truck driver? Might always just, like, be a truck driver, and a woman of your caliber deserves more than truck driver, perhaps CEO or" like, her roommate gives a vibe of someone who would say exactly what she said. I'm not saying that, like, I could go through her Instagram algorithm, but, like, it's probably a lot of, like, high value woman stuff, like, it's she has no problem saying it because it's a she has no problem saying what she's saying for lots of reasons. A, because it's how she feels. B, because it's how Allie and her have always talked. And then C, because she probably comes from a culture where you can be more direct. And it's directly what she's saying. How are you going to feel? Because I've known you and you like fancy shit, and he's not a fancy person at all. And Allie's like, well, he has, there's potential. And yeah, they're like, well, let me tell you about potential, honey. Not here, not now. Not us. Wrong company, because we are getting out of these marriages we're in. It's with bullshit men that promise a lot and delivered not nothing. Honey, I wish that if they were truck drivers, they would have had probably delivered something in a truck somewhere, but not to us. You know what I'm saying? Next time I do that joke, I'll just cut it off with the last to the last sentence. Anton in his conversation is like, "Yeah, she's high maintenance." And we're like, "Well," and he's like, "Yeah, she doesn't cook or clean." And we're like, "Uh-huh." We saw her use that Miracle Whip on a sandwich. How did the Miracle Whip get there? Who made the Miracle Whip? If she bought the Miracle Whip, this is where you could be like, yes, she's high maintenance. Yes, she uses Miracle Whip. She doesn't know how to cook. Something wrong with them taste buds. Face on fleek. Taste buds, suspect. But I still love her, but no, that's not what he says. So we get to Allie and Anton's wedding day, and they both arrive in matching sweatshirts. And I noticed this because at first she's like, they're both blue and hers says Mrs. or whatever. And then it was ugly. And so when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's an ugly sweatshirt. And then it reminded me of when he wanted to get embroidered sweaters. And she's like, no, absolutely no. Why would I don't like kitschy shit. Not a big kitschy girl, me, so then she shows up with that, and I was like, "LOL." And when he shows up, he's wearing one too, the same one. We're like, "Oh, I see what you did here." So, also, I just loved the car she arrived in. It's one of those vintage cars. Sorry, I don't know why I said one of those vintage cars, because A, it is, and also B, that I'm mad at myself slash laughing at myself. That could be so many things, right? But I don't know cars, so I'm like, "You saw it too. What kind of car is that? Slopey?" One of those old-fashioned, like, real curvy cars. Ugh, I think that the design lines of the times that we are in, I mean, are aggressively, violently horrible. Think about that vintage car that Allie arrived in, and then think about a Cybertruck. The lines that we are living in, and I mean design, you know what I mean, like architecture and design, the lines, how strict and how, like, stringent, they are horrible. And I think it's really affecting us. I think that society, and maybe this is exactly, oh my God, I'm gonna write a Substack article about this. This is so cerebral. This is the last thing I'll say. I'll have to do a deep dive, but I think that when there are a lot of curves and roundness in the artistic expression of, like, a generation, I wonder if the curvier the better. Because when you think about, like, fun times, curvy times, Renaissance, Rococo, that kind of thing, it's all so round. It's all so many, it's so shapely, it's so curvy. Yeah. Anyway. Okay. So I'll move on. So, but really, I could, of course, think about it, and I'm going to. Don't worry about it. I'll write about it. So, Anton's other friend, okay, so she gets to talk to her sisters. Her mom comes in, who we know her mom. Then her sisters are gonna come in later, and then including the one that, like, wants nothing to do with her, and that part's understandable. Okay. She says that Anton's other friend, not the one that we met, because the other friend has a fiance and the other girl was just a girlfriend, DM'd her and was just like, "Hey, hey, I know you're, like, scared, but it's gonna be a great day. It's so beautiful." And I'm just gonna tell you, that detail alone is so mundane and passable that if for her to bring that out and for the editors to, like, keep it in as being relevant to anything, made me realize this is not gonna end well. Now, I knew it wasn't gonna end well anyway because I know they don't love each other, but let's just pretend, because Anton does wanna marry her, let's just pretend that the wool was, you know, pulled over our eyes and Allie really loved Anton. She was just, like, gonna be okay with the truck driver, just like she was seemingly okay with the alcoholism that we never discussed. And then now I realize she's okay with the alcoholism because she was never gonna be with him. That's why she never had to, like, confront him. I think there was a part of her that she was like, "What am I gonna have, just a huge knockout fight on TV over alcohol or this guy partying when I don't care about him? Look at me, I'm Allie, Alina, Alini, there's, come on. I don't even want to look out there. I don't wanna be perceived as, like, a yelly, mean, naggy person for a lot of reasons. But it's definitely not worth, like, showing an uncontrolled and or ugly side on camera for her. So anyway, her mom is scared because he drinks alcohol. Now she gives him grace. This is the part I forgot. This is where she's like, "Mom, come on. I do too. I do too. just so you know, and let's give him grace. And now looking back, she probably was like, I'm about to fucking fuck his life up. So you don't got to pile it on, mom. He deserves grace in this moment because of what is about to happen, mom. Believe me, mom, also don't worry about it, mom. Now, we cut to him and he's put on mismatched socks. They're both blue. They both have stripes, but they're not the same sock. Not the same. Just so fast in the morning. So many pairs of blue striped socks. So those two like come in a pack, or did you buy in time two socks that looked so identical? And has that happened before because you know you own both of those socks? Was this like your socks or are these like the designer's socks that are like some, these are okay. By the way, every dude, almost every dude, but definitely Edmund has great socks. Big sock fans. By the way, I do like great socks. I think socks are fun. And I especially think that if you're like a guy, you can have some fun with socks. You just have to be careful. You have to be careful with all your style choices, especially around me. Anyway, so he's of course putting them on and the mom comes in and I mean I love his mom. I think that there are two great parts of this show, this specific episode. Two lovely ladies, very Les Mis. They're not whores, even though I can do the accent, the English accent that is in Les Mis's Lovely Ladies song that I'm referencing. So again, one sign of an ADHD person, the other sign of a 90s theater kid screaming out to you to understand references. Okay. She comes in, the mom, and she's like, oh, mismatched socks. Great sign. Good sign. Those Eastern European people are so sometimes superstitious, which I love. By the way, I love, I'm a big Chekhov fan, right? Like a big, this Russian playwright, Chekhov. Maybe you've heard of him. Big fan. And so parts of Eastern European culture are like so in my heart because of how many hours I've spent reading, the major works of one of the Russian master writers. Okay. They're not Russian. I know. Oh, wait, they are Russian. Yes, he is Russian. Good. Okay, so moving on. She says it's a good sign that the socks are mismatched. We all know that's not true. It's just not true. I cried so much this episode, but it starts and it's hardcore right here. His mom is beautiful. Natalia is his name. Like she is just full of love. Like the way that she talks to him, right? Like they translate it like, you are my life, my darling, the greatest thing I've ever done. You are, I mean, that's the way they talk. It's like sometimes like love, yeah, like, when you read Chekhov, there are such beautiful verses where people just give you their truth in ways that pours out of them. And then of course there's, scenes and scenes where no one says anything and it's just brimming underneath and it's the most painful thing in the whole world, truly. But she's like, you are my greatest thing I've ever done. You are my love. She's just like so proud of him, loves him so much, and is just like crying so much. And I mean, then she goes over to Allie's, and Allie's bridesmaids are all wearing green, different kinds of green. That made me really happy. By the way, if you're a pop culture person, it's fine if you're not. But guess what? I am. One of the Haddad sisters, not Bella or Gigi, and not the one that's a secret one that they'd met like last month or whatever, but Alana? There's like two other ones, right? Like from Muhammad's first marriage to okay. This is okay. I don't know everyone's name, but this is this weirdest thing that you guys know this, right? Just so you know. So there's like Kris Jenner and there's Caitlyn. When Caitlyn obviously was the past self before, that person, well, Caitlyn still was married, right? But obviously, expressing themselves as a different gender and then marries someone and they have like the kids that are like Brody Jenner and all those people, right? That woman who I wish I knew that person's name because I feel so bad because she is, I'm sure, incredibly storied, and I'm sure she has accomplishments, but here I am. She's married not just to Caitlyn, but also marries Muhammad and then has children with him before Yolanda marries Muhammad. And then, of course, Yolanda divorces Muhammad, gets a David Foster, divorces David Foster. Okay. So that woman and Muhammad's older daughters, one of them gets married this weekend, and Bella and Gigi are there. And this is how I bring this all back together. Green was the bridesmaids' colors. All of them wore green. It was so beautiful. But specifically, I feel like if you looked at the pictures, because you might be a pop culture person, Gigi's dress was this really gorgeous moss color. Like I love green and that kind of bright moss that has almost, well, definitely like a yellow quality that makes it bright AF, but not neon, is such a beautiful accent to like a warm, to me, color palette, like me. Anyway, okay. Guess what? Allie's palette also green. Her friends are there, and then we do see her sisters, right? And she has all her sisters come in, and then there's the one that honey is off to the side, honey, and we are like, well, that's the one that she is, freaking frack with, and that's the one that like wants nothing to do. And now I realize they're close. That girl's just pissed because she's on this show and has decided to do this. That girl is just like, how fucking dare you? How disrespectful to marriage. I mean, I'm just assuming how either disrespectful to marriage or why are you so dumb or you know they look like they probably have made some different choices. I love this, don't you? Didn't you love seeing that sister? God bless her. Yeah, like both women are beautiful, but obviously Allie has done a lot. Done a lot. Even though it looks great, you can tell because there's her sisters right there. I don't know. I kind of I wonder if Allie ever gets annoyed with like the eyeliner that goes in the corner pockets, because I also do love it. Like, I think it looks really interesting and, like, does, like, a fun thing to your eye shape. Except that when you do wear it, inevitably, like, you get, like, eye excrement. Like, in the corner, and then, like, if you're wearing that stuff, like, it's hard to get it out. I don't know. Does that ever happen to her? I and she does it so beautifully and so finely with, like, a brown tip. Anyway, so her sister's like, whatever you choose up there, I mean, I'm gonna hate it." And yeah, she at this point, we get his mom coming in, and his mom asks Allie point blank, "How do you feel about my son?" And she can't even get through the sentence without breaking down. It's like she's just like, "Hi, hi, 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 nice to meet you." Like, she, like, barely says hi to, like, Allie's mom, who obviously doesn't want her to marry Anton, just like the sister is like, "Hi. Nice to meet you. Mhm." And then God bless, but I do love Natalia. She's like, "How do you feel about my son?" No, Natalia. Oh my God, I have anyone that loves me that much. No, Allie. I Allie's very fucking quick. She's like, "I love him. I don't know. I love your son. He's so great. Right, mom?" No, Allie does a much better job. Now, her mom is like, we like him. I like him." Natalia knows immediately. I feel like she knows immediately. Allie did a better job, but she's like, "Okay, well, whatever decision you make, whatever option you make is going to be the best option because it means, that he's not going to be married to someone who doesn't love him or care about him like I do." You're just like, "Oh my God." I okay. It was hard. It was hard. Um, so then their beautiful wedding starts and it's perfectly lit, like whatever hour of day mark it, honey, it's witching hour. And they start and he's like, we just have the same outlook. And we're like, what is the outlook? Can you just, which is, like, because sometimes people will, they say things like that. It almost feels like they're just grabbing sentences out of thin air, honey, that they read once. The same outlook. The same what Microsoft Outlook version on an old computer that you have? What do you have the same of? Can't be how you want to live. Definitely not like how you view the world though, babe. Okay. I don't like their minister. I feel like he's not like he can't talk. He's not a good talker. It's hard. It's hard out there. It's true. Because some people think that you can just go up there and speak in different ways because you want to be a minister or you want to be a priest or you want to be a TED Talk giver or you want to be a motivational speaker. And I'm going to tell you, as someone who wanted desperately to be a theater actor, you don't think about the importance of good voice work. Just like when you're doing a podcast, you don't consider how important good audio is. But right now, as I talk to you, there is a mic, and you can look back into probably videos of mine with no mic, and it's an astounding auditory difference. Now, I'm not saying I have the world's best stage voice, but a lot of people haven't had 1 ounce of the training I have. And I don't even do like all of the work. And obviously, I don't do all of the warm ups. And if I had like discipline, I would be much better. But a lot of people just think I'm just going to start talking and they won't use proper breath support and they refuse to hit plosives. They won't chew words. They don't even add any flavor to what they're saying, especially if they're reading. And so if you have someone reading something up there, you get a lot of people who don't really know what's happening and they're just pretending by it's like that's not a good rhythm. No one wants to hear that. It actually is like putting people to sleep. It's weird to have to think about how you have to add color to your voice and how you have to like also make sure all the other things are happening. Like they can hear you and you enunciate. What a nightmare. But that guy didn't have it. And I'm saying, listen, if you're going to be on TV, come correct. She is so beautifully lit when she steps foot onto the altar that I want to know if she also had a light on her because it felt like there was an amber glow coming from a center spot, perfectly, diluted off her side right. He's like, "Well, you look beautiful, especially right now with the light shining on your face." I mean, my God, like she looked like a 1950s movie star, like that did that kind of lighting back then. Oh, how gorgeous. He's like, "Well, you're beautiful." And we all knew that, and but I fell in love with you before that, so it was in the pods when I kept calling it baby. She says we know and so this is interesting. The way that they like structured this was that it's like everyone gets a little final monologue where it's vague enough so that they say everything and they can easily say I love you. So like they will, especially, doesn't make any sort of change to what could happen next. They give their monologue and then they give their like And what is your final answer kind of thing, which I think is hilarious. Is that your final answer? No, they just give you like, and will you be spending the rest of your life with this person? And then, of course, they give, they're like, well, no, no. So she, in her little monologue, she says, I wrote it down, we know the things we need to know to make the best decision. And I was like, she's about to leave him. Not anything you say to anyone you're going to get married to. Well, we know the things we need to know to make the decision for us, make the best decision. It's just not something you say to someone that you're in love with. I don't know. It's like, she did her best though. He, of course, is like, I'm obsessed with you. I want to be with you. Can we be together? And she's like, I can't be your wife. The person I fell in love with is not anything I experienced in real life. Ooh, how do she even have to do that one? She did not have to. She did, though. She was like, oh, poosh, babe, what? Ooh, the person I fell in love with is not anyone I experienced out of the pods. This is why I think that's horrible. A, because that's not technically true. You didn't fall in love in the pods. You lied to yourself and the producers. You didn't fall in love with the pods. That's what happened. Don't put this on him. You didn't fall in love with the pods, or you fell in love with a fake idea of someone you wrote in your mind because you have Daria, your roommate, in your head being like, you are a woman of high caliber and deserve a king with all this money. And you also have like your sister who probably judges you for all of the plastic surgery you've had in your life. I'm not saying it's bad, but my God. And then she's like, what's happening? You're not the person I used to know. And you're halfway in between. I actually feel bad for her. I mean, but mm, but I don't want her to marry him. I don't think, by the way, me saying this, that she should just settle for him. I think that he's no prize. I mean, obviously his mom does. I would love his mom, because she's so lovely, to have an honest sit down with his friend's girlfriend of 2 months. I don't want that for her because I like her, but could you fucking imagine if she sat down with that girl who will let anything fly, honey, will just be like, let me tell you about your son. Let me tell you about some of the stories I heard about him, just so you know, just so you could right the wrong, ready the ship. Because, I love Natalia. She certainly feels like her son's done his work. That's what she said. She was like, oh, 2 years. He's done so much work. He's so much better. Okay, which is true. Here's the thing. I hate this about myself, and so I'll share it. I wish I was in a better place than I am now. And I think that it takes a lot of patience to work on yourself. And it's just things come slowly. It's such a fucking nightmare. But I think there's also like a truth to where you are in life and, like in being honest about that. And Natalia is high emotions about wanting the best for her son. And she might have to bring her expectations down a little and maybe understand her son a little more, take him not off the pedestal completely, because I do love that about her, but just on a more realistic, stable pedestal. Because he does drink a lot and he seems, if you're okay, if you're going to go full traditional gender roles where you're like, I want to protect and provide and I want her to cook and clean, which, remember, he brought up that she doesn't cook or clean. Now, we all know in our heart of hearts that he's also not saying, I want her to be hot. Now, he doesn't have to. She's already gorgeous, especially in his mind. And he doesn't want to say it because it's so obviously true. And the truth of the matter is, how much his salary is, if he's going to live in the world he's setting up, is in direct relationship to the kind and type and skill level of woman he is with. He could easily, because he's a handsome, lovely man, be with a woman that can cook and clean and be very graciously happy, appreciative of a $5,000 ring. That's not a hard thing for him to find. I don't think that's hard for him to find. A woman who will love him and be, like, happy with him. Maybe she does drink a little more than Allie and can have a little fun, or not, doesn't have to. But she, will tolerate that for whatever reason, and she will cook and clean. He can find that. But we all know there's a reason why he hasn't found that. And it's because he probably wants someone who looks just like she does. But the problem is, Allie doesn't want a $5,000 wedding ring. And if you are going to go down the route of being the provider protector who wants a woman to cook and clean but really look like her, you have to understand that your current setup is not going to work for that. And I have to think that at some point every single person has to look at what the misalignment is of their expectations and like what is coming their way. He also can be with a beautiful woman physically. I do think that he wishes that he probably made more money because remember how he like brought up his side gigs? I think that the thing for him is that he probably has to drink less because drinking, it's one thing to like be at home and drink, even though I think that's kind of weird. Drinking at bars is so expensive. It just is. Like, and also it's like hard to just have one. And you know what's even more annoying about that is that you of course can get cheap drinks, but the atmospheres are usually really bad there. Just to be like in a comfortable environment, like sitting without really aggressive noise or obnoxious people. If you order a drink at one of those establishments, like chances are that drink is $12 or more, 15 to 17 in most cities, and then fucking 21 and up if you're in New York or fancy also part of LA, which is like, okay, so that's where she wants to be. That's where she wants to have her 2 drinks before she like has Pilates in the morning at like 6 a.m. You know what I'm saying? And he wants to throw back 5 drinks. That's like $300. I can't do math. But you know what I'm saying? It's just, he has to understand that she does. I don't think she had to say that part again about not having experienced the person that she loved, because I think that that's really mean and also not accountable for the fact that she again wasn't in love, and if she was, it wasn't to the person that he is. He is the person that he is. Unless she can really tell us that he lied about his income or lied about his drinking or lied about how much he would spend on a wedding ring, then I don't believe that he misrepresented himself to you. Because I truly think in his mind, he's like, I want to provide and protect for my woman. Except that I think that in his mind, that woman expects a lot less. And so it'll be a lot less. But she's not. Like, so it's just, I don't know. That obviously is the end of that. And we move on. It's like what really happens after that. I love it, by the way. I was like, how long have I been talking? Oh my God, 50 minutes, and I'm only through one fucking couple. Not that it like, guess what? Spoiler alert, not much happens. But let's move on to Calabria and Edmund. Okay, so they get to their rooms, and she cries when she gets to her room. I'm like a little confused why. I think it was because of the setup of the vanities. It was like cute. They look like small vanities, though. They kind of look like Pottery Barn teen vanities. Do you get mercilessly Instagram ads for Pottery Barn teen stuff? Like maybe because of the Love Shack Fancy connection. Anyway, it was kind of like giving me that. She sees his ring. It looks like a black Aura ring. Was it a black Aura ring? I don't have an Aura ring, obviously, but that's what it looks like to me. I guess, I mean, slate rings are a thing, but like now every time I see it, I'm like, oh, you're just gonna let me counting your sleep? Or making sure your body isn't stressed? Someone with an Aura ring really okay, someone with an Aura ring, I know I've said it now so many times, really has to give me some advice because I have one friend who wants me to get it so bad, but she wants me to use her link, and I'm like, "Listen, I'll get it." Not no, I won't. I'm annoyed, I think I've already said that because you have to pay, like, a monthly fee, like, every month you have to keep paying for the service of the Aura ring. I find that obnoxious, especially because I have an Apple Watch, and so I can track my workouts usually and sleep easily. But I'll tell you this, 2 things. A, I think Aura rings track your workouts without you having to add any like, push anything, which is nice. And the second thing is I've gotten to the age where I am now I'm somewhat cognizant of the way stress manifests itself in my body, which is annoying, which is in different ways, like eczema. When I get really stressed out or things, and who knows, my body's off or whatever it is, I get patches of eczema on my fingers, on my right now it's on my face. I'm wearing a tinted cream right now because of it. All that to say, I want an Aura ring because I think it tells you when you're stressed, just in case you don't know enough that you have to be like, bitch, I gotta fucking take 2 days off and like bring my blobbly blue levels down. Because I'm not always super sure when I'm stressed and enough where I have to like take moments off. But if a ring told me, I'd feel good. Like right now, the ring is my eczema. Anyway, so he cries when he sees her delicate ring, which is a beautiful, like delicate gold band. It's really thin. All of her sisters come in. They have beautiful names like Nakala and Aaliyah and Amari. And then her mom's name is Aisha. Okay. So Calabria, like they're all great. Such beautiful names. And if I said any of them wrong, I'm so sorry. I think her mother's name is Aisha. Or it's like it's spelled Iea Shia. And at one point Edmund says it, but he says it like in the nape of her neck, like in her cheek in such a way. So I was like, what is it? And I also have issues like sometimes like saying auditory things. I don't know why. But anyway, so I think it's Aisha. I'm not quite sure. But then sorry, Aisha goes to visit him. And she looks great. She doesn't have makeup on yet, but like she keeps saying that, like, I don't have my makeup on yet, which is great because I haven't cried yet. And I was just looking at her face and being like, oh my God, you you don't need it. My God, that skin's so beautiful. Uh she also looks like Calibria. Um they kind of go over like who's there for him, his rollerblading community. His dad's coming, and his dad didn't get to meet his Calabria, but then his mother is not coming. There's something that happened. He said something came up on her side. And Calabria's mom sort of says that, like people choose where to be. And the way that she said it made it seem like it wasn't a health related thing where it was, I mean, I don't know. Because if it was something really horribly health related, then of course Edmund wouldn't be there. She obviously was on TV talking to Calabria and was going at one point gonna like send her beads or something. So for that to suddenly change, it's not good. We definitely don't get a scene of him and his dad. I mean, I don't think we do. Tell me if I missed that. I'm so sorry because we get a lot of shots of his dad. Um, his dad, again, there. So then we also find out again his 5th grade teacher is going to be there, and we're excited about that. Calabria's mom says, "Thank you for choosing her." And I really thought that was beautiful because often in this situation, the parents of their own child is always like, "Yeah, we didn't know who's going to be good enough for Blobbity Blue, but we're really happy with this match." There's always this air of my child is a golden child, and thankfully your child is good enough today. You know what I'm saying? There's like, it feels like that often. And often you don't feel like you get a lot of grace and gratitude from the opposite parent to the person getting married to your child, if that makes sense. It's kind of like, you know how when you're on a sports team, mhm, you pray to God that you'll win and you're like, "God, let us win," as if God doesn't exist for the other team too. Like, I always think about this, like the Fighting Irish, like those Irish Catholic people, honey, that go to that school, Notre Dame. Like, they play football, right? And, like, it's like, you gotta pray to your Catholic God. I'm Catholic, fine. I can say all this before your game. And I went to Mater Dei, which is like the biggest Catholic high school with the most intense football team west of the Mississippi. So I know what I'm talking about, which is this weird idea that main character energy, that God's going to be on your side. And that kind of main character energy is a little bit when parents at weddings are like, we didn't know who would be able to impress our daughter or be able to steal her away from us, or we would let our daughter, marry, but it ends up being you. And it was so nice for her to be like, thank you for choosing my daughter in this way of s- being, because it doesn't mean I'm giving up power, like my daughter isn't great. Like, thank you for choosing my dumb, stupid wallflower daughter who didn't have any other options. It was done in this way of like, thank you for choosing my daughter because it gives me incredible amounts of peace to know someone has seen like this, her spirit and her soul. And that she trusts that you have seen that and have experienced it and know its like intrinsic beauty and value and appreciate it, choose it. Okay, so great. We're like, okay, now here's the thing. In our heart of hearts, we're like, Calabria, we've seen lots of fights. I'm not going to even talk about how lovely he is and or maybe like some of the things we've seen of him. We've just seen fights from you guys. Been fighting, like that's we've seen a lot of that. Haven't seen a lot of affection. Definitely no, there's no sex. What the fuck have we been watching? Why have we been watching it as long? You know what I'm saying? So anyway, so we get the scene of scenes, which is then Edmund's fifth grade teacher, who at one point I'm like, God, she looks so young. And then I'm like, oh, she's just like, no, she just probably started teaching really young. Comes in and hugs him, and his mom isn't there and his dad's not in the room or whatever. And they have a really beautiful long scene where he obviously is very thankful for, what she's done for him, which is basically these like stories of sitting with him after school and like kind of like in a very nonchalant way being like, hey buddy, you hungry or you have stuff for dinner? Like I'm gonna run by Subway anyway. So like, do you want me to get you something? And him being like, okay. This is where you cry, right? I want to cry right now. And then she's like, you changed me. Because I think that when I was just starting out to be like a teacher, I was like, well, I stand at the front of class and I like say these things and they, do whatever they want. There's like this one child in the back running back and forth. And it was probably really frustrating. And, I really felt her. She was just like, it forced me to sit down and be able to like connect with you. And I realized that you were up there running back and forth, but you were listening to everything I said. And you like knew it. It's just couldn't sit down. Hard to sit down. Hard. You get distracted. It's hard. And like, now I teach and I'm moving because I get it. Because kids like want to move because like they have energy in their bodies. And especially nowadays, like maybe when he was young, it wasn't that way, but kids, are a lot on their screens. So I can't imagine now being a teacher, like having to like have kids sit down and pay attention in one place. Um, I, you know, I'm so happy for her and I'm so happy for him. And I think the scene like makes me I don't want him to be hurt. I'm like mad at Calabria. She didn't have to do what she did. So then again, okay. So of course he's just like, thank you so much, right? She's like, well, I'll always be there for you. And I'm like, so happy. All of this is really beautiful. I wish I wasn't crying. It's fine. Just that it was really beautiful. Again, it was so lovely and there is a genuine connection. And I hate that he had to go through like feeling so unstable at such a young age amongst young people with also what feels like ADHD, hyperactive, or whatnot, whatever they called it back then. I mean, I have ADHD too, but it's just the ways in which I think that his is very loud in his head. The way that his mind works, it's a loud, quick mind, and probably a lot of thoughts happen at once. And so it can be difficult to pick the one and then ride that train without hearing all the other ones. And it causes like an overwhelming sensation. And I know what that's like, and my heart goes out to him. So, we go to the wedding and they get their wedding person's slightly better. It's a lady. And he's in love with her. He just wants to get married to her. He's wearing these really beautiful, like green earrings. He has green socks on. He has that pick, honey. He commits. I mean, Edmund's fashion sense has been perfectly, authentically done this whole time. I don't understand like how much help they do or do not get, right? Like with stylists for this because they all showed up to Cowboy social hour pretty much fucking blinged out. But then of course we hear from Calabria that she wanted to go to Target, she had to pick up extra things. Obviously with Anton, the day of his wedding, he gets mismatched socks, so leads me to believe that wasn't like a professional stylist doing that. Which then makes me realize, yeah, like Edmund is not professionally styled. But he looks great all the time. Like all of his outfits are visually, artistically perfect. Like patterns are perfect, colors are perfect, socks match. I mean, like he is a meticulous dresser. If it's, I mean, it's perfect. It looks like fucking high New York fashion, or something. Anyway, so yeah. So basically, of course, he gets his monologue, right? Where he's like, I love you and I want to be the rest of my life with you. And I can't believe that, God gave me you. God bless. And we're just like, no, fucking don't. This is a nightmare. This is really horrible. I mean, then it cuts to her. She's like, yeah, you are so genuine and your story, I fell in love with your story, and he's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. She's like, I love you, I love you, love you, love you. And then they're like, okay, great, cool. And do you want to spend the rest of your life with this person? And it goes to her and he sees her face fall before she says anything. And then he lets out a primal grief sound. Wail. Wail. Is that how you describe what that was? It's like, oh, it's like, I mean, then she's like, I can't be your wife. And then he knew. And then she makes him stay and talk. And she's like, no, I just didn't know until just now. And da 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 da. And he's like thinking about the fact that she wouldn't ever have sex with him and how that probably was indicative of someone who, didn't want to have sex with him, which probably isn't a great sign for someone who is supposed to be in love with you and like wants to get married to you, especially if they will have sex with anyone else all the time that they just met or whatnot. It isn't like it's a religious thing or some sort of like commitment thing. They do it all the time. It's just not with you. My God, right? All of it like comes back, him's nice thing, everything. And she's just like, trying, it's like she's talking to him and right, and she wants him to feel better, but she's also wants her to feel better. And then he tries to like pacify her as much as he can just to be like, can I go on a walk? Can I just cool? Can I just leave? For all of his, like very sure emotional outbursts. And yeah, he, like hears it. Once he realizes that this is not what it is, he does a really good job of, like, centering himself and, like, relegating himself, and as he, like, walks through the pasture and, starts to cry, and his dad shots of his dad, who I mean, isn't gonna have a good report. Oh my lord. I just, like, yeah. We're of all the people that I, again, would have loved someone to not have made it to the wedding day, to spare them, and in fact, give them the gift of being let down incredibly easy in a beautiful way. I certainly wish it would have been Edmund. I wish that she honey, I don't know, just like take him to the best day ever. It's hard because you're lying to someone who's in love with you, who you're just pretending to be in love with. So when you spend space and time with that person, your space and time, like every moment is sort of a lie as you don't say what you know. Because, you are either presently with someone enjoying them or you're not. Like I don't know how anyone would lie to someone for a long time or really at all. Like the minute I have, let's just say, an issue with someone, or once I know something about someone, it's like screaming in my head until, I'm out of the room with them, or I've like confronted them or whatever, or I've confessed, like whatever it is. There is no peace to be had in that. I just also don't believe that she went back and forth like she said she did. She knew and she didn't have sex with him. That's why she didn't have sex with him. That is like what I know. She's like, he has the best body. God bless. Like his dad doesn't help him, but his fifth grade teacher goes and like is in the field with him. She's like, everyone loves you. Literally everyone loves you, buddy. Like I don't know what to tell you. Like when you were in college, like, people like the cooks showed up because like you touch people's lives. Like you are a fucking gift. And she, I'm sure, is a lovely lady, but she's not yours. And she uses this like diamond sapphire that like she could be a sapphire, a gem in her own way, but like your personal perfect person, let's just say your diamond, that she's still out there. Um It's like, the thing about Edmund is that Edmund does need a therapist, right? Or like a psychiatrist. Like Edmund does need someone like to help him talk through things like this. Like Edmund needs, and I do too. So, but I think that, which is fine. A lot of us do. But the reason why it's sort of was unfair to think that Calibria could be with this person is because we didn't discuss him and his mental fitness enough. Not that we have to get specifics, but enough to let us know that he is working on stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because there's two ways to look at something. You can either not work on your processing or the way that you interact with people or your interpersonal communication, or you can just be like, I'm not going to do anything of that. You either accept me the way I am a beautiful little starfish, and I think that this is a valid thing, and then you just also believe that somewhere out there is your perfect match and this person will come to you and you can just come together and everything will work. And then I'll say, sure. But when you find that person, you're going to have to acquiesce. You're going to have to compromise at some point in some things. I just can't imagine. You're not going to, you can't meet your fucking Siamese twin that just happens to be floating out in space, never connected to you, but therefore, but somehow connected to you. And even I would say Siamese twins aren't exactly the same, probably fight. So, okay. So the other side, of course, is that you have like some sort of flexibility in that. And I think sometimes if you want to show that you have like the flexibility to kind of give and take, it's the ability to work on yourself, go through the process of working on yourself. Edmund, I think, has some, and I'm sure a lot of people do, like I think Madison and Annie do too, emotional things could be triggered with some processing things that could be helped in probably therapy. So can I. And I think for Calabria to have an honest effort, she would have had to been a part of that process. And that be like a thing we say. Okay, so the hard thing is that Edmund's like, this was my best shot. This was it for me. Like, if it wasn't Calabria now, like in this situation, like this is it. Like no one else would be as great. And that's hard to think of it for a long time, for a lot of reasons. A, because Edmund's really young. So, like, us seasoned folks are like, buddy, you got years. And you're only going to get better. You get that body. You're only going to get better emotionally and mature levels. So if you can, I think do some work on yourself. And I think that it's good to not just, I don't think you should just do work on yourself so that you get a mate or like do work on yourself to attract someone that you want to fuck. It's that, you do the work on yourself so that every part of your life gets better, every relationship and every like, work situation, so that as you move through your day to day, things are easier because maybe there's less noise, less or more, maybe more clarity or whatever. So, and I think that there's medications and stuff like that, but again, stuff has to be addressed or it feels murky. And it always kind of felt murky with them because things weren't addressed. So I never thought that they were going to get married. Again, he deserves to be like let down. Tell him on a Sunday, No big song and dance, no long faces, no long looks. I'm singing a song. Guess what? It's a Broadway song. There's a really beautiful, I think maybe one of the bigger versions of Tell Me on a Sunday is sung by Bernadette Peters. So if you're just on a computer and you want to be like ADHD with me, then listen to Bernadette Peters sing Tell Me on a Sunday. And it's the kind of energy I would have loved Calabria to have given Edmund for this. Because she gave him like a whole song and dance. And she gave him a long face. And she said I loved him so much, but it's like he's intelligent. So he knows what's real and what's not. And I feel like he had to just sit up there while she made it easier for herself and let her know he's okay. Even though he was like, I'm okay, I'm not okay. Did you see that? I'm okay, but I'm not okay. He's not okay. He doesn't want to talk to you, Calabria, right now in front of all these fucking people and his dad. The fuck? God, I hated that. I mean, I wonder if Calabria is like not a villain, but I find it such villainous behavior. I wonder if people are going to come for her on the internet. Not come for her, but I mean, I don't want people to like, come for her. She's fine, but I wonder if people are going to comment that they're equally as angry at this choice or find it unnecessary or just felt cruel. It felt like a cruel choice for her to go to the altar with him, especially coming up next. Oh, look, Sparkle, Megan, and Jordan, who, was the only actual tried and true couple. That fucking conversation really, honey, from that devil friend, hit Sparkle Megan in the middle of the goddamn night at 4:30. She was like, blink, blink. I gotta get out. She sits Jordan down. She's just like, I'm not sleeping. I can't do this. And he's like, why? And she's like, it's the same day in, day out. You don't eat adventurous food. He's like, what? She's like, I just want to eat different things. He's like, then eat the different things. She's like, not by myself. He's like, okay. Yeah, I can't go out to Nobu with you all the time. And she's like, yeah, but that's what I need. I didn't know I needed I didn't know I needed Nobu. I don't need Luca, I need Nobu. This is like horrible, but that's basically I feel it's funny because she's not a villain either. And as this goes on, it certainly makes her look bad. And she knows it makes her look bad. And she I think like has like a come to fucking Jesus moment where she is like, I understand that there is no way for me to get out of this without looking like a fucking monster. But it's like she needed to say, I'm not in love with you. She says you're easily lovable, but she makes all these things like, I thought it was opposites attract. I thought I could do it. I thought I could do it. And he's like, well, I told you I had a kid. So, you said you were okay with it, which also is a little unfair. Like, yeah, well, how do you know? You have never had a fucking kid. How the hell would you know what it means? And if you can't take someone's like word to be like, yeah, sounds great. Diabetes, not a problem. I mean, I don't, maybe it isn't, but I've never had a kid, but even I know that it's a wild jump from what you think is going to be to the reality. Like, I know that, some part of me. And then I know that if I ever was to have a kid, that the concept I just said to you would still be wildly unfamiliar to me, that I would still be shocked. You know what I'm So it doesn't make sense for him to be like, you said it, you knew, so sorry about But he's upset, obviously, and she is basically telling him what is a weird, horrible thing to say, which is like, "Yeah, I need a rich guy. I just am rich, so I just want someone who can be rich with me. I don't want someone to fucking work, and when he's not working, like, having to deal with his son. I want someone who wants to, like, do fun, rich things with me because things cost money to do. Things cost money. I wanna go to the lounges in New York and LA. I wanna drink drinks that are, like, $26. That's what I wanna do. I love $26 drinks." And then I tip even better, so that like I can flirt with the bartender without problems. She's that girl. I don't think it's bad. And I also, again, I think that he's, it's a little harsh for him to do what it is, but he feels bad because, he feels like, yeah, so you just wait, just so I know you're just here. So you're breaking up with me because I'm not rich. And you just don't understand the concept of working people anymore. Is that what I'm hearing? You just don't have to work ever again. So your concept of life is so fucked up that mm, out of sync, unrealistic, not grounded, not tethered to the reality that the majority of people have to do, that it's like it's too much for you? Because I guess it'd be a huge thing to now realize that Sparkle Megan can only be with Mikes or mm, or people or rich people. Because let's just go back to Mike. Remember Mike? Of course you do. Mike was supposed to be rich, remember? Is Mike rich? We'll never know. We don't know. I would love to find out because people lie, right? Jordan said he didn't have tattoos. Mike, men lying about their financial means, we can assume it has happened. We can assume. And I will never forget him saying that he would love to take her to Italy and that, Italy, people have said is great. Maybe that was a joke. Maybe he'll be like, maybe his life is that he has that Delta One honey and he's always flying to Milan. But when he said that, I was like, you're not rich. But having said that, is Sparkle Megan is like, oh no, I'm going to take myself out of the entire dating pool pretty much by now being like, I don't want a man that has a child. I don't want a man that has to work or at least make so much money that and his schedule is so wildly flexible that it's basically like he can do whatever the fuck he wants and he doesn't have to work. I mean, that's a lot. Yeah, I don't know how she's gonna find, without kids, all those things, that kind of, like, special person. I certainly hope that she finds it, like, I don't know how I'm assuming that she has to, like, join a fancy, really high-end membership club, like, better than Soho House or wherever Soho I mean, 'cause Soho House is on the downs. She has to take up golf. She you know, she knows it makes her look bad, this conversation, and she also is like, "I don't know if I can be a mom now because I know that I'm making a choice that is wildly selfish. I can't stop myself." And I would love to know, like, well, how much do you love Jordan then? Because, like, you can say that he's easily lovable, and you can say, to me, if you really loved someone, you wouldn't be able to make this choice. So you don't love him. I need cameras. Like, they didn't show us a lot of footage. I need to see the camera on them for a whole night. Like, he gets home from work, he opens the door, he's like, "Hey," and she's like, "Hi, hey, hey." "Oh, no talking?" He's like, "Yeah, can we just have, like, a little silent time?" And then, like, have her be like and then, like, have them go, like, 3 hours pass by, and he's, like, on video games or maybe, like, he's done something, and she's like, "Can we watch, Everything Everywhere All at Once?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then they eat, like, macaroni and cheese, and then he just passes out, and then they shows a montage how that's happened, like, every day, and then her be like, "I just can't do it," and her be like, "I'm in love with him," because I'm assuming that he comes home and he jokes around. Why don't they just order in? How many amazing, adventurous restaurants are there in Denver? Also, are there adventurous restaurants that, like, aren't super expensive? Now listen, if he's a picky eater, that's one thing. It's hard, he's like, "I'm just a simple man, I just wanna be a provider." Now, it's funny, like, when she said he was a picky eater, I just, like, wanted to know a little more about that. Because, I know I know people are picky eaters, I get it, people are simple people, some people only will have, like, fast food. Some people only have, like, what they were raised in, like, some people only have, like, turkey I mean, I don't know why there's certain, like, things where I'm like, "No." But I have also turned into a picky eater. I'm not adventurous at all when it comes to eating. I like what I fucking like, and it's true. I love eating out at restaurants. The good news is that most major restaurants, like, if you take me to one, yeah, I can definitely find something to eat there. I'm not like a crazy I'm mm, I'm a picky eater in the sense that I don't like fish, right? I don't eat like any sort of meat that isn't like beef or chicken. Usually, I'm not like I'm not trying to have caviar and surely, yeah, I'm not okay, all of that, truly. But like, yeah, I can eat a kale salad. I can eat a side of Brussels sprouts at a restaurant. It's not a big deal. Like if I go to any most ethnic cuisines, as long as it's not like a fish heavy ethnic cuisine, I'm okay. Some Asian cultures love a fish sauce or an oyster sauce, which does make me gag a little bit, but like, obviously, I mean, I love Thai food. I love like curries. I love spring rolls. I love anyway, moving on. So she breaks up with him and she's like, I don't know if I can be a mom. And I think I might have made a really selfish decision. And this is what it is. And he They make it seem like he basically says nothing, like he cries, and then he's just like, "Well, I don't really have anything to say. I'm just gonna pick up Luca." But then they hug, so it makes me feel like he did actually say like something of value that's nice because he definitely also made her feel bad. He is happy that she didn't do what happened to Edmund, what Calabria did to Edmund, which is take him all the way to the weddings just to break his heart. No, he is thankful about that. And you guys, have you liked this video so far? Because I've talked longer than the episode. Please give it a little thumbs up. Please like this video. Please subscribe yet if you haven't to my channel where, I love to just dish with you guys over dumb things. Have you enjoyed this season of Love is Blind? Let's talk about the one clip we got for the tell-all, which is Sparkle Megan hot on the heels of being like, I don't know if I can be a mom. Maybe being like, you guys, I have a secret. Now, we're then led to believe it could be any of the following options. She's pregnant. She got back with Jordan. She got with Mike. What do you think it is? 1, 2, or 3? What do you think Sparkle Megan admits? That she's pregnant, that she got back with Jordan. Okay, I have 4 options. She's pregnant. I guess she's pregnant means that she's pregnant with someone else's child. She got with someone else and she's already pregnant with that person's child. That's option 1. Okay, there's 3 options. Option 2, she's after this scene, her and Jordan got back together. Option 3, after the season, she and Mike got together and they are opening like a wellness facility because he is in fact rich after they went to Milan on Delta One. Delta One is so I think I flew Delta One once, but I can't remember if that happened or if I fever dreamed it. Delta One is like the top first class of Delta, and it's not even like, normal first class. It's so fucking fancy. What'd you guys think? That was the end. She's pregnant. She's pregnant with some baldy. So you think she's pregnant with a bald man's child? Is he rich? Yes. Okay. I guess there's one more. Wait. Oh, I think she's got with some guy from the streets and he's broke. That actually, wouldn't that be fucked up? There's a whole other option. She's gay. She's with a woman. Or she's with a trans person. Which, and they, however they express themselves. I'm just saying, like there's other options. Yeah. What the craziest season. Like they knew it was crazy. They ended on some bananas montage. After I talked about the tell-all scenes, but like their montage of people just talking about love and saying I love you just to like have a fruitless season, honey. A fruitless season, which is good because I put all over the social medias, honey, that I personally objected to every one of these weddings. Not as much as they did, though. Crazy. What a crazy season. Oh, my loves. What else is on your docket? I'm going to go to New York this weekend. So if you haven't yet and you are on social media, follow me. I'm at Chris L. Farah on Instagram, on Substack, on TikTok, and I'll share some New York fun adventures. Maybe I'll do a live. Because I always think about doing travel lives in the sense that I love packing and I love hotel rooms. So it is my happy place. It's a privileged happy place. I really love hotels. I love, of course, a hotel room for sure. And that is truly privileged because you have to have paid to be in that hotel room. Oh my God. And, I wish I had either house in New York or friends that love me enough to let me stay there. So if I go to New York, I have to have a hotel room. But besides the hotel rooms, I love hotels. I love the hotel restaurants. I love the hotel lobbies. I love a hotel bar. I love room service. It's so great. Being at a hotel, especially if you stay there, if you stay at a hotel, it's almost like casting yourself as like a little mini queen or princess, like in a play where then you're like, everyone serve me. I'm paying for it, but everyone serve me a little bit. So you have to be really gracious about it. That's obnoxious for me to say. I like haunted hotels. There's a lot of ICE protests in New York right now. Good to know. God bless. Okay, yeah, I'll do some research and yeah. Well, God bless. Whatever's happening in the world is just so everything that's happening in the world is so intense and so much like war, heartbreak. There's so much hate. There's so much anger. There's so much like me and them versus them, me versus them. There is like everything just feels so there's us and then there's those people, right? The It's fucked up because the us versus those people is like Ukraine and Russia and Palestine and Israel and Republicans and Democrats and red and blues and California and the mid America. Like everything is so us and them. And it's like hard thing to balance like standing up for what's right and wanting people to do what's good for people and being decisive and strong about that while still maintaining like we are all in this together kind of I don't think even technically we can live in a world where it's us versus them, like electronically we can't, like in space and time through the internet and through how we have bonded, like how we are bonded by being in civilization is just it's just unrealistic to move too much in that. Like I don't know what the end game is. I don't even know what the answer is. It's so hard. I wish I could be just like Edmund's 5th grade teacher, like, I'm praying. I'll just pray on it. Like I really wish I could just be like, I'm just gonna keep giving my prayers. I mean, it's not like if you were just gonna like take out the word prayer and put like good intentions, it isn't like I'm not, but it's hard to like, yeah, it's hard to know what to do or how to do anything or how to move or what's best to do, how not to hurt anyone else, how to not hurt yourself, how to survive when it's just like people screaming back and forth and killing each other. You're just like, oh my, how did this happen? How did we get here? Anyway. Babes, what a time. At the same time, what are you guys watching? Anything great now that Love is Blind is over? Obviously, 90 Day Fiance, Toe, and Happily Ever After. I'm watching, and of course, Sister Wives, which all are recapped here on this YouTube, which I also will hopefully find the best package to put as an RSS feed for podcasting as well. Everything is moving in its own time, honey, and it's patient. Well, that's what I have to be patient to deal with it. However, tell me what you're watching when this video goes up. Of course, make sure to follow me on all those social medias I already said, as well as on Facebook. You can like my page. I go live there. And my group Vanity Farah, I always post when I'm going to go live too. But I'm trying to make sure I post this schedule with enough time in advance so that everyone gets a really good picture of it on as many social medias as I possibly can. Again, Chris Elfera on Instagram, TikTok. I have a Substack. I have a YouTube, Facebook. My group is called Vanity Farah, and I also have a page you can like, Chris Farah. So all of those things exist. Can you believe it that I have to do this to myself? Ugh, can you believe the world we have to live in so many social medias? The new doc on Netflix was good. Oh, okay. I think it's called The Good Neighbor. Oh, Thank you, Stone River. Yeah, great. Okay, I'm into that. I also hopefully will get to see some theater while I'm in New York, which I'm so happy about. Um, I've seen O'Mary so many times, but Jane Krakowski is in O'Mary right now, which I mean, I love Jane Krakowski so much. Like, of course, I mean, I love 30 Rock so much. I think 30 Rock was like a is one of the best shows on television. Like, I understand that The Office is very funny too, but 30 Rock to me was like always so great. I also loved Ally McBeal. I love Jane Krakowski, period. So I want to see her in O'Mary. I would love to. It's just I'm only gonna be there for 3 days. Oh God. Um, what else, my pets? That's it. Tell me what lives you want me to do. If you want me to do a live in New York, if you care about travel or hotel work or packing or something like that, let me know in the comments once this video is posted. But other than that, I will talk to you later. I hope all is well. I hope you guys are taking care of yourselves. It was a beautiful sunset today. So, wherever you are, if you're in California, make sure to see the sunset tomorrow. And if, you're somewhere else, make sure you find a pocket of like little nature for yourself to have. All right, my babes, take care of yourselves and one another. Stand up for what you believe and make art. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.